IT sourcing refers to how an organization obtains and manages its IT services and functions to support business operations. The main goal is to choose the most efficient and cost-effective way to deliver IT value while managing risk and maintaining control. There are three main sourcing types. Insourced. IT functions are handled entirely within the organization by internal staff. Example: a bank using its own IT department to manage cybersecurity and application development. Outsourced. IT services are provided by an external vendor or partner. Example: contracting a third party to manage data center operations or cloud hosting. Hybrid. A mix of both internal and external IT services, common in large organizations for flexibility. Work can also be performed on-site, off-site, or globally, offshore, depending on cost, skill availability, and data sensitivity. Once the IT sourcing strategy is designed, it must be reviewed and approved by the IT steering committee to ensure alignment with business goals, cost efficiency, and security expectations. An IS auditor should understand the different types of vendor services, such as commercial off-the-shelf software, cloud solutions, and managed services, and evaluate whether service-level agreements, SLAs, properly cover response time, uptime, and technical support. Other key considerations include vendor financial stability, licensing flexibility, and software escrow, ensuring the organization retains access to critical software if a vendor fails. Finally, the request for proposal (RFP) process should clearly define service scope, performance standards, and pricing. And all contracts must include a right to audit clause to allow independent reviews of vendor compliance. In summary, effective IT sourcing ensures organizations get quality, reliability, and value from their IT partners while protecting business interests. Outsourcing means transferring the delivery of IT services to a third-party provider, while the organization retains accountability and risk ownership. In other words, even though an external company performs the work, the organization is still responsible for the results and for protecting its data and customers. Outsourcing should always be a strategic decision, not just a cost-cutting move. Management must carefully consider the advantages, disadvantages, and potential risks, such as data breaches, loss of control, or poor service quality, before signing any contract. Example: a bank outsourcing its data center operations to a cloud provider must still ensure that data privacy, uptime, and recovery processes meet regulatory requirements. The IS auditor should confirm that management has done proper due diligence before outsourcing, including reviewing vendor qualifications, risk mitigation plans, and compliance with best practice frameworks like ISO 15504 for process improvement, CMMI for capability maturity, HITIL for service management, and ISO 9001-2015 for quality assurance. Contracts should clearly define access control and security administration, specifying who can access systems and data and under what conditions. The auditor should also verify that contracts include penalties for non-compliance and measurable performance requirements, such as network uptime, incident response time, and application performance. Example: a cloud vendor guaranteeing 99.9% system availability should face service credits or penalties if that target isn't met. In summary, outsourcing can improve efficiency and expertise, but only when well-governed, well-documented, and regularly monitored to ensure accountability and service quality remain strong. When an organization outsources IT services, a well-structured contract is essential to protect its interests and manage risk. The contract defines the rules of engagement, outlining what's expected, how performance will be measured, and how problems will be resolved. Key provisions should include change management. There must be a clear process for making changes to the contract. For instance, when new services or technologies are added. Example: adding cloud backup services mid-contract should go through formal approval and documentation. Dispute resolution. The contract should include escalation and resolution procedures for handling disagreements, starting internally then involving mediation or arbitration if needed. Indemnification. The vendor must indemnify the organization, meaning they take financial responsibility for any losses or damages caused by their actions, such as data breaches or service outages. Right to audit. The organization must have the legal right to audit the vendor's operations, security, and compliance at any time. Business continuity and disaster recovery. Contracts should require vendors to have tested BCP/DRP plans to ensure service continuity during disruptions. Example: a data center vendor should have a secondary backup site in case of fire or power failure. Legal and policy compliance. Vendors must follow all laws and regulations, e.g., data protection, labor laws, and comply with the organization's internal policies on security and privacy. Intellectual property, IP. The contract should clearly state who owns the developed software or data and include software escrow provisions to protect access if the vendor goes out of business. Subcontractor controls. Vendors must identify all subcontractors, and any changes must receive prior approval. Finally, once the contract is in place, the IS auditor should periodically review the contract, SLAs, and vendor performance to ensure they remain appropriate, compliant, and aligned with business needs. In short, strong contractual provisions protect the organization from legal, operational, and reputational risk while maintaining service quality and accountability. Organizations choose to outsource IT services for several strategic reasons, usually to save costs, improve efficiency, and focus on their core business. One key reason is the desire to focus on core activities. By outsourcing non-core IT operations, management can concentrate on what truly drives business value. Example: an insurance company may outsource its IT infrastructure support so it can focus on product development, customer service, and market expansion. Another common reason is pressure on profit margins. When competition increases, companies look for ways to reduce operating costs. Outsourcing allows them to access skilled resources or infrastructure at a lower cost, especially through offshore vendors. Example: a financial services firm outsourcing help desk functions to a lower-cost region while maintaining quality through service-level agreements, SLAs. Competition and speed to market also play a big role. Outsourcing helps organizations access the latest technology and expertise quickly, allowing faster project delivery and innovation. Example: a startup partnering with a cloud service provider to launch a new app in weeks rather than building an internal data center. Finally, outsourcing provides flexibility, allowing the organization to scale IT services up or down depending on business demand, market size, or project requirements. Example: a retail company increasing outsourced IT support during holiday sales and reducing it afterward. In short, outsourcing is not just about cutting costs. It's about strategic focus, agility, and competitiveness. When managed properly, it helps organizations deliver better value, faster service, and improved business outcomes. A service-level agreement, SLA, is a key part of any outsourcing or vendor contract. It defines exactly what level of service and performance the vendor must deliver, and what happens if they fail to meet those expectations. An SLA sets clear, measurable commitments, such as system uptime, response times, or support availability. Example: a cloud provider may be required to guarantee 99.9% system uptime, meaning the service can't be down for more than about 9 hours a year. It also outlines the type and quality of support the organization will receive. For instance, 24/7 help desk availability or response to high-priority incidents within 1 hour. SLAs often specify technical requirements such as software versions, hardware configurations, or security standards that must be maintained to ensure consistent performance. Importantly, SLAs include penalty clauses to hold vendors accountable if they don't meet their commitments, such as financial deductions or service credits. Example: if a managed service provider fails to meet agreed uptime, they might offer a refund or discount for that billing period. Some SLAs also include incentives or rewards, like bonuses or gain sharing, when the vendor exceeds expectations. This encourages long-term partnership and performance improvement. In short, SLAs protect both the organization and the vendor by setting clear expectations, measurable targets, and accountability, ensuring that IT services deliver consistent quality and value. Outsourcing can deliver major benefits when managed well, but it also comes with significant risks if not properly controlled. Let's look at both sides and how to manage them. Advantages. Outsourcing helps organizations achieve economies of scale, as vendors can often deliver IT services more efficiently due to their size and expertise. Example: a telecom company outsourcing network maintenance to a specialized vendor that already manages similar systems for multiple clients. Vendors tend to be more focused on results and have greater technical experience, which often leads to faster problem-solving and higher quality outcomes. Their contracts and specifications are usually well-defined, reducing misunderstandings. Also, scope creep, when projects expand beyond their original goals, is less likely, as vendors are time-sensitive and profit-driven. Disadvantages. However, outsourcing also has serious downsides. Costs may exceed expectations due to hidden fees, poor vendor performance, or changing requirements. Organizations may also face loss of control over IT operations and loss of in-house skills, making them overly dependent on vendors. Other risks include non-compliance with legal or regulatory requirements, data leakage, vendor system failures, and even reputational damage if a major project fails. Example: a bank's reputation can suffer if its outsourced payment system crashes during peak hours. Risk mitigation. To manage these risks, organizations should define measurable performance metrics in contracts, use software escrow to protect intellectual property, engage multiple vendors to avoid over-reliance on one provider, conduct competitive reviews or benchmarking to ensure service costs remain fair, prefer short-term renewable contracts for flexibility, create a cross-functional contract management team to monitor vendor performance and compliance. In summary, outsourcing can bring efficiency, expertise, and focus, but success depends on strong governance, clear contracts, and continuous oversight. As organizations expand internationally, globalization of IT functions has become common, allowing businesses to operate 24/7, reduce costs, and access specialized talent across different regions. But this global model introduces new challenges and risks that must be managed carefully. When planning global IT operations, the first thing to consider is legal, regulatory, and tax compliance in each country. Example: a Nigerian company storing data in Europe must comply with both Nigeria's NDPA and the EU's GDPR on data protection. Continuity of operations is another major concern. IT teams across countries must ensure that systems and services remain available despite time zone differences or regional disruptions. Example: a global bank must maintain real-time system synchronization between its data centers in Lagos, London, and New York. Personnel management also becomes more complex. Different countries have different labor laws, work cultures, and languages, which can affect collaboration and productivity. Telecommunication issues such as bandwidth, latency, and connectivity between global offices must be planned for, especially for cloud-based and real-time systems. Organizations must also address cross-border and cross-cultural challenges, ensuring that policies, communication, and cybersecurity awareness programs work effectively across diverse teams. Finally, every global expansion should be well-planned, including scalability, local partnerships, and compliance frameworks to support smooth international operations. In summary, globalizing IT functions offers efficiency and competitive advantage, but success depends on strong planning, legal compliance, reliable communication infrastructure, and cross-cultural collaboration. When an organization outsources IT services, such as cloud hosting, payroll processing, or data storage, it still remains responsible for the controls protecting its data. To gain confidence that the service provider is managing risks properly, the IS auditor should request and review third-party audit reports. The most common reports are SUC 1, SUC 2, and SUC 3, issued under SSAE 18 and ISAE 3402 standards by certified public accountants. Example: a company using Microsoft Azure or Amazon Web Services, AWS, can request their SUC 2 report to confirm that controls around data security, availability, and confidentiality are independently tested. Each report type serves a purpose. SUC 1 focuses on controls that impact financial reporting. SUC 2 covers IT controls related to security, confidentiality, processing integrity, and privacy. SUC 3 provides a summarized public version of SUC 2. The information system auditor should carefully review management's assertions in these reports, such as the scope, period covered, and any control exceptions, and determine how these findings affect the organization's risk exposure. They should also know how to obtain these reports, review key control test results, and communicate the implications to management for further action or risk mitigation. In addition, organizations should request independent penetration testing and security assessment reports from the vendor to verify that systems are secure and controls are actually effective in practice. Example: reviewing a vendor's latest penetration test report to confirm that vulnerabilities found have been fixed. In summary, third-party audit reports give the IS auditor independent assurance about vendor control effectiveness, helping management make informed, risk-based decisions about continuing or strengthening vendor relationships. Cloud governance refers to the set of policies, procedures, and controls an organization puts in place to ensure that cloud resources are used securely, efficiently, and responsibly. It helps balance innovation and flexibility with compliance, security, and cost control. The key components of cloud governance include security, compliance, cost management, performance optimization, and risk management. Example: a company using Amazon Web Services, AWS, might enforce policies on who can create cloud servers, how data is encrypted, and how usage costs are monitored each month. When adopting cloud services, governance must stay aligned with the organization's strategic direction. The decision to move to the cloud should support business goals such as agility, scalability, and digital transformation, not just cost savings. Example: an insurance firm may use cloud computing to improve customer experience through faster claims processing and better data analytics. However, moving to the cloud often changes business processes. Data processing, software development, and information retrieval may all work differently. The way data is stored, archived, and backed up also changes, requiring new procedures and access controls. Strong cloud governance ensures these changes are well managed and secure, preventing issues like data leakage, compliance breaches, or uncontrolled costs. In summary, cloud governance gives organizations the structure to use cloud services effectively, maximizing value while keeping data safe, costs under control, and operations aligned with business strategy. Governance in outsourcing is about making sure that once a vendor contract is signed, it's not left on the shelf. It's actively managed, monitored, and reviewed to ensure it continues to deliver value to the organization. The first key element is contract viability through continuous reviews. The organization must regularly assess whether the agreement still meets its needs, both financially and operationally. Example: a company may review its IT support contract annually to check if response times and costs still align with business growth and service expectations. There should also be an explicit governance schedule built into the contract, outlining how often meetings, performance reviews, and audits will occur. SLAs, service level agreements, and OLAs, operational level agreements, should guide vendor performance, ensuring contractual obligations are met, from uptime guarantees to issue response times. Governance also requires clear responsibilities, defining who makes decisions, who manages disputes, and how issues are escalated. Example: a bank's outsourcing agreement might specify that unresolved IT issues after 48 hours are escalated to the CIO. Continuous evaluation of cost, performance, user satisfaction, and effectiveness helps detect service gaps early and drive improvements. Strong governance also relies on open communication across all stakeholders: the vendor, business users, IT management, and internal audit, ensuring transparency and quick resolution of problems. Finally, resource allocation should be responsive to changing business priorities, adjusting expenditures and service levels as needs evolve. In short, effective outsourcing governance ensures that partnerships stay strategic, compliant, cost-efficient, and performance-driven throughout the contract lifecycle. It is critical for an IS auditor to clearly understand the right to audit clauses and related controls when an organization outsources activities that involve confidential information or sensitive business processes. These clauses define whether the organization, its auditors, or regulators are permitted to review the outsourced service provider's controls, either directly or through third-party assurance reports. In real life, for example, a bank outsourcing its data center operations must ensure the contract allows its internal audit function or regulators to review the provider's security controls, rather than relying solely on management assurances. The auditor should also understand how audits of the outsourced service provider are allowed to be conducted under the contract terms. This may include on-site audits, remote assessments, or reliance on independent reports such as SUC 1 or SUC 2. For instance, if payroll processing is outsourced, the contract may specify that the organization can rely on an annual SUC report instead of performing its own audit, provided the scope covers access controls, data integrity, and confidentiality. Another key consideration is the level of visibility the IS auditor has into the internal controls implemented by the outsourced service provider to provide reasonable assurance. In practice, this could involve reviewing control descriptions, testing results from independent auditors, or key performance and control metrics shared by the provider. For example, when customer support systems are outsourced to a third party, the auditor may review reports showing how access to customer data is restricted, logged, and periodically reviewed. Finally, the IS auditor must confirm that service-level agreements clearly define requirements for problem management, including incident response, and that these requirements are documented and communicated to all affected parties. A real-world example is a cloud service provider contract that specifies incident notification timelines, escalation procedures, and responsibilities in the event of a data breach. If these SLAs are unclear or not communicated, the organization may face delayed responses, regulatory penalties, or reputational damage when an incident occurs. As technology continues to evolve rapidly, every organization must plan ahead to ensure its IT capacity and infrastructure can keep up with business growth. Capacity and growth planning helps management anticipate future demands on systems, networks, and storage, so that technology doesn't become a bottleneck. It involves assessing the current IT capacity, such as servers, bandwidth, storage, and applications, and forecasting what will be needed as the organization expands. This is not just a technical exercise, but a strategic business process that connects IT readiness to future goals. Example: an insurance company planning to launch a mobile self-service platform should estimate how many users will access it daily and upgrade servers or cloud capacity before rollout. Capacity planning should also be integrated into the organization's budgeting process, ensuring funds are allocated for timely upgrades, new technologies, and system scalability. It must form part of both short-term and long-term IT planning, balancing immediate operational needs with future growth and innovation. Example: a bank may plan short-term to expand its data center for more transactions, while long-term, it might migrate fully to the cloud for flexibility and cost savings. In short, effective capacity and growth planning ensures that IT infrastructure grows proactively, not reactively, keeping systems stable, performance high, and business operations ready for the future. Once a third-party vendor is engaged, the organization's responsibility doesn't end with signing the contract. It must continuously monitor and review the vendor's performance to ensure service delivery meets agreed standards. The first step is to monitor service performance levels against the Service Level Agreements, SLAs. This means tracking uptime, response times, and support quality to verify that the vendor delivers as promised. Example: if a cloud provider guarantees 99.9% uptime, the IT team should review monthly reports to confirm compliance and flag any downtime that exceeds limits. Next, organizations should review service reports produced by the vendor and hold regular progress meetings, weekly, monthly, or quarterly, depending on the contract. These meetings help address performance gaps, upcoming changes, or risk issues early. Another key part of monitoring is ensuring that information security incidents and problems are properly managed. When dealing with third-party vendors, change management is just as important as performance monitoring. Any change, whether made by the organization or the vendor, can affect service quality, security, or compliance. That's why all changes to third-party services must be carefully evaluated, approved, and documented before implementation. Changes may come from the organization itself, such as introducing new applications, upgrading existing systems, or updating internal policies and procedures. Example: if an insurance company adds a new claims management module, it must ensure the vendor's system can integrate securely and support it. Vendors also make changes on their end, like network upgrades, adopting new technologies, or using different development tools. Each of these can impact compatibility, performance, or data security. Example: a vendor switching from a private server to a cloud environment must inform the organization so that new security controls can be reviewed. Other important changes include moving the physical location of service facilities, which can affect data residency or compliance with local laws, and any change of subcontractors or third-party suppliers. Every such change should go through a formal change management process with risk assessments, impact analysis, and management approval before implementation. In summary, managing third-party service changes ensures continuity, security, and compliance, preventing disruptions that could harm the business or violate contractual obligations.